So, as a professional philosopher, sometimes I get asked about different philosophies, and one of these philosophies is Stoicism, which I don't know very much about. So, this idea of Stoicism apparently is very popular on the YouTube, and I'm not sure quite what to say about that. Um, the Stoics, ancient Stoics, Zeno, for example, and Epictetus, among others. These were very, very powerful thinkers during their day. And of course, Marcus Aurelius is probably one of the more famous examples of uh, famous Stoics. But from what I recall of Stoicism, and again, I rarely teach on it, occasionally in a history of Western philosophy class, I had to prepare some stuff for Stoicism years ago during my doctoral work. But look, my understanding is that these thinkers were primarily materialists, which of course, you can think that materialism is true, but doesn't thinking prove that it's not? And you just work that one out. But I think the attraction to Stoicism is probably not their materialism or empiricism, although starting with the senses is, I think, a pretty good place to start with regard to knowledge. Uh, but I don't think that as an ontology, materialism is a is true. And as I just mentioned, you just have to think about that. And if you can think about materialism, then it's not true because thinking is not material. So I'll let you work that one out if it's a little too confusing for you. But I think one of the reasons that Stoicism is probably super popular on YouTube is because it's connected to somehow living your life well. And there may be something to that with regard to the Stoic view of, was it autarkia? I may be getting that. My Greek isn't so good. Of kind of aloofness or, I don't want to say not caring, but a kind of detachment from the world. There's something right about that. I I think probably the Christian writers who recognized Stoicism, the truths of it in the ancient world, and considered these ideas as Christians, for example, Boethius, offer a far better account of this sort of aloofness or detachment or independence. Um, in the Consolation of philosophy, Boethius really emphasizes the fickleness of fortune and any attempt to find happiness from the things of the world, whether it be power or prestige or position or fame or pleasure. None of those things, of course, can satisfy. And I think the Stoics probably recognize that part. But what does satisfy? It's the question. And I don't think the Stoics have a good answer to that, um, especially if their ontology is materialistic, because the material world is just, well, it's passing away, and that requires, therefore, for happiness, something eternal that is non-physical. And Christians have a really good answer to that, and Boethius does too, in the Consolation of philosophy, as well as other Christian writers like Augustine and Aquinas. So I think probably again the attraction also to Stoicism. Somehow seen these like AI generated sort of videos on YouTube about Stoicism, and usually it has something to do with like uh, being like Spock or something. Spock, for those of you, this is from Star Trek. If some of you don't know who that is, you can ask your favorite AI about it. Um, being kind of cool and detached. Like no one's gonna bug me. I'm a dangerous thinker or something. And then it also has something to do with working out or hitting the gym or lifting weights or something. And that part I mean, look, that those are good things to exercise and take care of yourself and stay in good shape and all of that. That's a virtue, but it's somehow sort of like if you read Marcus Aurelius and hit the gym, uh, women will flock to you like the salmon of Capistrano. And so I don't, I doubt that that's true. So if you're into Stoicism, I would highly encourage you to not watch the YouTube videos on it and go read the original Stoics. Just read their ideas. But don't read them in isolation. Read them in the history of Western philosophy, in relation to Plato, especially, and Aristotle, Socrates before both those two, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and then on to, and maybe contrast with the Epicureans. They were kind of maybe the main opposite, maybe not so opposite, but often seemingly opposite to the Stoics in the ancient world after Aristotle. And then also read other Christian writers about Stoicism. I'd recommend a work by Tom Morris. I think it's called Stoicism or something, on Stoicism. He's a Christian philosopher who probably has some good ideas about how the Christian faith connects with Stoicism. I haven't read his book, but I've heard it's quite good if you're really wanting to dig into Stoicism as a Christian. But I would suggest that you look at thinkers who understood Stoicism and saw it wanting. These would be primarily Augustine and Boethius and Aquinas, and probably any reasonable Christian philosopher in the modern period. Thomas Reid, for example, or other thinkers, maybe even in the 1800s, um, that might be of help to you on this. So Stoicism may have its place, but just be aware that it's lacking in some areas. And I think the idea, especially of self-sufficiency, that Stoicism often seems to have central to its ethic. Its ethics is a kind of good. In fact, in Boethius's Consolation, sorry to keep going back to Boethius, but I'm trying to relate what I do know to Stoicism or Stoic ideas. And one of the things about self-sufficiency is that it's a real good, and it's actually part of happiness, or eudaimonia, or beatitudo, however you want to put it, in whichever language you like. And that kind of self-sufficiency we often think comes from maybe money, makes us self-sufficient. And the Stoics seem to think that simply the exercise of my will and myself can make me self-sufficient. This, of course, is absurd on a couple levels. Number one, my own being, my own coming into being, and my own maintenance in being, my own existence, is not of my own making. I think maybe some of you got to choose whether or not you exist or began to exist. I didn't, but maybe you did. I don't know your history. Maybe you got to pick whether or not you existed or not. And depending on the kind of being we are, in my view, we're eternal beings made in God's image. We don't get to pick whether or not we continue existing. Now, this might bother some of you. Um, you don't have a say in the matter, but it doesn't bother me a whole lot. And if God is real and loves us, then it shouldn't be a worry at all that we get to continue existing to exist, and we don't have a say in the matter. Now, so necessarily, human beings are not self-sufficient. We're contingent beings. We're not necessary beings. We began to exist. We didn't have to exist. It's possible for us not to exist. So I don't know if that's a refutation of a Stoic ethic or just a major concern with it, along with its empiricism. But self-sufficiency being part of happiness, the question then becomes, how do I obtain it? If self-sufficiency is really a part of my happiness, then how do I obtain that? And this is where I think the Christian answer comes in, to seeing that self-sufficiency is found only in a self-sufficient being, a being whose existence is necessary, a being whose being itself is impossible for it not to be. And of course, this is God, the creator of heaven and earth. One God, the Father the Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, in whom all things, through whom all things were made. Right. So this is a way to think about an idea in Stoicism, self-sufficiency, which is a part or a partial aspect of complete happiness or complete well-being, but cannot be found in the things of fortune or the things of this world, or as Solomon wrote in Ecclesiastes, things under the sun. None of the things under the sun can satisfy us, and our own self-sufficiency is not found there either. It's found in a transcendent way through our uniting of our souls with God. And so the Stoics miss that, I think, and this is where I think the Christian revelation takes that missing and fulfills it. It's better got at, I think, by Plato and Aristotle. I think the Stoics fall short even of those pagan philosophers' views about the uniting of the soul with the good in Plato or with the prime mover in Aristotle. Both of those thinkers, I think, fall short of the Christian revelation that fulfills them. But that's not an idea unique to me. Just read Augustine's Confessions right around chapter 7, where he addresses this as well. The things he can learn from the he called them the Platonists, Neoplatonists, but disciples of Plato, and there's some aspects of Stoicism maybe that are carry on from Plato or tear parts of Plato away and take shreds of it and focus on it alone. But even those thinkers, I think, fall short, like we all have. We've all fallen short of the glory of God. And finding our way back to our true home and our true maker is the part and parcel of the love of wisdom, of philosophy. And that's where Stoicism might help a little bit, but doesn't ultimately reach that for which we are grasping. I think this is also, you can see this kind of in Paul's sermon on Mars Hill, that Paul recognized that the Athenians, they were getting there. They were getting there. But it was the one who came and lived among us, who was self-sufficient, whose being was uncaused, whose being is the cause of all other being, that one who incarnated and lived and died and rose again from the dead. That is the true source of self-sufficiency. What do you think? You can comment below.